Right, guys, we're back after a long, tedious international break with a few talking points, pro-Arsenal and non-Arsenal, but we're getting to that in a sec. I do have three guests on tonight. One's running late. Obviously, got Glenn, who's been a regular on it before. How you doing, Glenn?
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate the invite to the show. Always a pleasure.
You're welcome. And I appreciate time because of time difference and all that. So it's all back working out.
Oh, it's all right. I just got my son upstairs playing GTA 4. So if you hear any police sirens, don't be alarmed. I mean, GTA 5. GTA 5.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a bit of an old one.
And obviously a newbie to the channel, Niall, who's got his own channel. How you doing, Niall?
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. Thanks for letting me on. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. Where do we start? We've got maybe it could be a preview tonight, but we've got so much to talk about. Stuff that went off in was it Belarus or whether on Monday. We've got Ozil doing his interview yesterday.
Yeah.
Bergkamp doing an interview with Ian Wright. Got so much to talk about. So let's big talking about obviously, mate. Recently, there's Ozil.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on?
I don't know.
What he had to say.
He wants to stay, doesn't he? Like all Arsenal fans were convinced he was leaving in January, but he's obviously a lot of fans, like especially the big ones, back Ozil. So even though, like my personal opinion of Ozil is we haven't seen him play in so long, I'm not really sure if he's good enough for the team anymore. Like, how can you tell? Like if he hasn't played,
the team's evolved and he hasn't.
Yeah, you can't just throw him straight into a Premier League game and after not playing in so long and expect him to do well. So even if he has still got it, I wouldn't expect him to do well. So I would play him against Vittoria in the Europa League if I was Emery, especially after what you said, and I would slowly integrate him back into the team. I wouldn't rush him at all.
Interesting. For me, I'd rather have Ceballos play the number 10, although he prefers the number 8. As far as Ozil goes, if there was a field of people that want Ozil out and a field of his fanboys or fans, I think fanboys is an insult, Ozil fans, and there was a fence in the middle of those two groups, I would be sitting on that fence, but both of my legs would be over on the Ozil outside. It's fine. It's fine that he says all the right things in that interview, but I'm not going to listen to him until I see it on the pitch.
Yeah, I get you.
I get that as well. It was a timing as well, because obviously Emery had his interview late on that afternoon. It was just the timing of it being released and what he had to say. I'm not going nowhere. I'm under a contract. It's like he thinks he's got all the power in that sense with the wording that was put out there, where it's not that's not the case. The power's with Raul, Vinay, Edu, and Josh and all that. They're the ones with the power. So they don't want him. They want to ship him out. They'll ship him out. So you can't really.
But doesn't the player have to agree to go? That's what I hear all the time anyway. When Ozil's like a squatter here in the United States. You know, if they squat in a house, they have 90% of the rights, and you can't get them out. Isn't Ozil like our squatter right now? Even if we want him out,
it does seem like it, because literally he's played 2 games this season, and both of them he's been subbed off.
Yeah, exactly.
And the second he goes off, Nottingham Forest was 1-0 up. He goes off. He ended up winning 5-0.
Yeah.
I was like Niall. I thought they were freezing him out, and he was going to be gone in January. You know, and then that perfectly coordinated 2 press conferences yesterday. Well, first the story came out with Ozil, I love Arsenal and blah blah blah, and then the front office came. Then Emery in his press conference said, "Oh, I like how he's practicing now. He's back in the mix." You know, it was a little too cheesily close together for me there. I don't know about you guys.
Well, if you're on 350k a week and you are in that situation where you can just like run out your contract, especially at Ozil's age, you're going to do it though, aren't you? You're going to say you love this club because he is on so much money. It's crazy. And we've seen it with Alexis Sanchez. He's had to take a pay cut just to get football into the hands. So I feel like Ozil's not going to make that mistake.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I can't disagree with that.
But then again, we don't know. We don't know if he's just doing it for the money or if he's saying it because he genuinely loves the club and he wants to play and he thinks he can earn his place in that team. But this is a thing like Ceballos, as you say, is better as a number 10 at the minute. But are we going to get Ceballos at the end of the season? That's the thing. Because
I think things he's saying, putting out there to the media and obviously our fan base, I think he'd be open to staying if it was right for him. obviously Madrid, if he does this, he could have an amazing season with us, and Madrid the way they are, because they still don't want you. We're sort of his safety net, so to speak. So he's trying to say the right things now as a backup. That's how I see it. Ozil's got. For me, Ozil has to now. It's all good doing the talk. He's got to prove it on the pitch now, and in training. Because I'm fed up with that players doing this. They say one thing, and obviously, when it comes down to crunch of it, they don't do the business. Then they wonder why they fall out of favour.
While I agree with Niall's analysis on Ozil, it really is all speculation. So he's just going to have to prove it on the field.
Yeah, but is he going to get the game time? So
exactly.
Yeah, the question though, like he can say what he wants off the pitch, but if he's not going to play, then how do we know? I don't have an opinion on Ozil. I don't have an opinion at all.
With Emery coming out yesterday and saying he's doing much better, he's in the mix. I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember exactly what Emery said, but it was positive. Do you guys think he's going to start on Monday? Ozil?
I'm not sure because Kieran Tierney is meant to be coming back from injury, which after his performance the other day, I think he'll probably get in the team. But that could possibly mean Shard, who's been playing very well, gets moved up. And there's also, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of those defenders. I know Maitland-Niles, is he still injured? He's still injured, isn't he?
I believe so, but I'd rather have Chambers or Bellerin, because Bellerin's back as well.
There's so many players. We have so many defenders that would rather be midfielders. Chambers would rather play defensive mid. You've got Maitland-Niles who'd rather play centre mid. Kolasinac can play on the wing. I feel like when all these better defenders like Bellerin and Tierney come back, it's just going to push these attacking-minded defenders up the pitch. We'll start playing them as wing-backs. So I'm not sure if we'll be playing 5 at the back for a lot of the season. I know when Emery first joined, he did incorporate that a little bit, but it will be interesting to see where people like Ozil play into that, if he can even get a space in the team. Because we do, as you saw, we have 3 very high-skilled defensive midfielders at the minute in Guendouzi, Torreira, and Xhaka. And we did try and play all of them in midfield without Ceballos or any attacking midfielders. So there's not much room for those attacking midfielders at the minute.
I want a creative, dynamic team on Monday because Sheffield United still does those overlapping cornerbacks, right? Where you can counter them, and there's just like 2 guys back there. So I'd like to see a dynamic team. I don't want no effing defensive midfield on Monday.
You reckon?
That's what I want. I'm tired of playing scared, Niall. I'm just sick and tired of it.
I'll tell you what,
Sheffield United, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Sheffield United has scored 7 goals in 8 games this year. Let's go after them.
Yeah. I know,
we've got the weaponry.
If Emery does do what you were saying, then I think he'll play people like Joe Willock and Saka in more of an attacking role.
And I wouldn't complain one bit. I love them both.
Yeah, I know. They're very, and that's another issue we have. We have so many talented young midfielders coming up through the ranks, but because we've got these defensive midfielders, and I'll tell you what, some are a bit dodgy. Xhaka is hit and miss. Guendouzi, although he will be just pure hit one day, he is hit and miss. And Torreira, he was amazing when we first got him, but I don't know why he's been hit and miss recently. We've had these players.
You know why, Niall. You know why Torreira is not playing. He's not being used properly by the manager.
Yeah. And that's the same with Ozil.
He's bombing fucking forwards. Yeah. Sorry, Ryan. I'm trying to watch my language.
No, it's with this formation. It's like Emery's doing to Torreira now what Sarri did at Chelsea last year with Kante, playing out of position. So then the position he's playing is making it's forcing him to play more forward style play, where he'd rather sit, where he'd prefer to sit back and protect the back four.
Yeah, if I was going to play one of those defensive midfielders higher up, I would play Guendouzi because of his forward passing. But I don't feel like there's much room for Torreira in the team at the minute, especially with Xhaka being made captain and Guendouzi playing so well. And obviously you've got to have at least one of those attacking midfielders out of Ozil or Ceballos. So I'm not sure. I feel kind of bad for Torreira in this lineup.
Yeah, and thank you. I forgot for 5 minutes. Shaka's our captain. Thank you for bringing me back to reality on that one. I just I really I don't think it's going to be an easy game Monday. Are we doing the preview now, Ryan? We kind of just
we can move into it. Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be an easy game. As long as Emery plays a positive squad, I could see 3-1. But I'm seeing in my head it's 2-1 because Sheffield United, if I remember the statistic right that I just saw a couple hours ago, was that they have not lost a game by more than 1 goal in over a year. And that's crazy. That's craziness.
That's a ridiculous stat. That is actually a ridiculous stat.
That's huge credit. That's huge credit to the Sheffield United head coach.
Oh,
the way he sets them up.
I love Chris Wilder. The only thing I don't like is he does his interviews in flip flops. I don't need to see no old man toes. Oh my god! Otherwise, I friggin' love the guy. It's just like you're a little too casual for me in your interviews.
Yeah, talking of Arsenal and obviously looking at forward, Lacazette's been given the all clear yesterday as well, according to what Emery said in his press conference. Would you start from a bench, or would you just throw him into the lion's den, so to speak, come Monday and start him?
It's quite an easy fixture, so I would start him on the bench personally. Aubameyang's been playing well.
No fixtures easy in this league, not with Arsenal.
I don't know. If you're looking at us as the team we are, but I don't know. I'm still thinking like it's 2011.
We all do. 2004 for me.
Yeah, literally.
I personally, I would start him, but Emery's so conservative. I don't think he's going to. When players are coming back from injuries, he's conservative. I don't think he's going to start him. Also,
do you guys think Unai will change the back line completely in the sense of Bellerin, Tierney, and Holding alongside another centre back, i.e. Socrates or Holding, or do you think he'll cherry pick who he wants in that back four?
Well, I would definitely take Bellerin, Tierney, Holding, and Luiz, and I wouldn't have a problem at all with that. Especially with Luiz hitting those bombs over those guys as they bomb forward. You get Luiz hitting them on the counter with his great passing. So yeah, that's what I would do.
1 sec, I've got a phone call, so 1 sec.
That's all right.
What happened?
The boy's got a phone call.
Oh,
I've just I've put the stream on my Instagram, so hopefully we get a few more views. Oh, so Glenn, when was the last time you went to watch Arsenal?
Last time I went to watch Arsenal,
yeah.
I have never. I hope you're not one of the people that holds this against Americans. I've never been to UK. Never.
Really?
It's something I want to do, but. I don't want to tell my whole personal life, but there's a good reason why I haven't been there,
Right.
So I'll just kind of say is a really good reason why I haven't been to the UK yet, but it's like a dream of mine. It's like my ultimate dream to go to an Arsenal game, and I will do it.
That's good though, because you've obviously still got your dream, and it's quite an achievable dream. You just got to go do it one day,
Yes,
when you
exactly.
Get around to it. It's when life's not in the way and you can attack it.
Life and money.
And being an Arsenal fan as well, very expensive tickets.
Oh yeah, I know. Most expensive in the Premier League. I don't give a shit. I'd pay whatever. It's you have no idea how much. I mean, some of you take it for granted, some of you don't. But the fact that you can just go to all of these games, I'm so envious. Jealous is the wrong word. I wish when my dad knocked up my mom, they moved to England instead of the States. But he was in the army. He met her in Germany, and they moved to the States. Oh, wow. That's why am I telling my life story, Ryan? What are you doing?
Right. Have you got German roots then?
Yes, I have German roots. My dad's from South America. I'm old enough to say that I saw Pele in his super old days when I was a little kid.
Really,
playing for the New York Cosmos at Yankee Stadium. It was awesome.
That is so cool.
Yeah, so I do have my own little stories, but I don't have any stories about going to any games like you guys do.
That's mad. The first Arsenal game I ever went to was the Champions League final.
Oh my God! What a first game to go to.
Yeah. So
Who'd you go with? Who'd you go with?
It was just me and my dad. He sold a lot of things, and I wasn't really into football. I must have been about 6 or 7, and I think he got very annoyed that I wasn't into football. I remember he bought me like FIFA 05 or something. And I didn't really like it, and I remember like my dad was quite old for a dad. Like I think he was like 42, 43 when he had me. So he was like a diehard Gooner all his life. He was like so desperate to get me into like football. So he wanted to go to the Champions League final because it was the first time Arsenal got to it, and we went. We were 1-0 up for the first 70 minutes, and I'll tell you what, in that 70 minutes after Sol Campbell scored the header, like I just fell in love with the game.
Awesome.
That's an
awesome story.
Like, it was cool because, like, although I was so little and I'd never been to an Arsenal game, I never support. I had my little Thierry Henry top on, the maroon one. Although I had never been to a game, I had all these fans that had never seen their team in a European Cup final. And I felt like I was witnessing it for the first time with them. So I felt like I was just as much of an Arsenal fan as everyone.
Oh,
so
that's great story.
I already felt a part of something when that happened.
That's a great story, man. It's funny that I'm surprised you lasted till 6 or 7 not being a football fan. My wife has a dear friend that got divorced. She met a new guy that lives in London, right? I said, "Oh, what team does he support?" She said he doesn't like football. I'm like, "What the fuck is wrong with that guy?"
I love that you say football and not soccer.
Oh, I hate that word soccer. And every fucking weekend I have to watch. It's time for English Premier League soccer. And
I'll tell you what, though, you are very lucky because do you know how the TV works over here? Like
I have to pay $50 a year to watch the Premier League. What do you got?
Exactly, $50 a year.
Wow.
I'll tell you what, it would cost you about $50 a month to watch one game every week. All right, you're fucking pulling my leg. You're fucking pulling my leg because you live in England, and if there is a good pickup game in the park on Sunday morning, it's televised. It's not. No? It's really not. No, literally. They only show, I'll say what, there's Sky and there's BT, which own kind of half and half at the minute. You've got a 12:45 game, and then they have about 8 or 9 3:00 games, and they don't show any of them. They're not allowed to show any of them. And then they have what a bunch of greedy pricks. And then they have a 5:30 game, which they show. So you get to watch like maybe, well, I say on Sunday, it's called Super Sunday. You watch 3 games. So you watch the 12 game, you watch the 4:00 game, and you watch the 7:45 game. So on 3, but on Saturday you only get 2. So that's 5. Oh, you also have Monday night football. So that's 6 a week. You get, if you pay $50 a month for, actually it's like 25 for Sky, 25 for BT. So you kind of need both. If you pay like $50 a month for like, what's that like? I can't believe a month. You're saying to watch all the games. If you pay like £40, you're gonna get to watch about 6 games a week. Oh my god. Well, yeah, Premier League games. So but I know with you guys, you could just switch through them, can't you? You get to watch them all. Yes. But what I like to do is Arsenal I watch first, and then I DVR all the other games. But and I watch them all, within 2 or 3 days. Yeah. But the whole thing is in America. I don't know if they do this in the UK. They can't help but show you the scores of all the other fucking games, so you can't even watch all the games without knowing the score already. Well, no, this is the thing. Like that would be the 3:00 games. New York, that would be what? We're 5 hours behind you. Okay, so that would be like a 10 a.m. game for you. Well, there'll be loads of 10 a.m. games. We can't watch the 3 p.m. games or the 10 a.m. games, so we don't have that whole like score flashing up. That's fucking crazy. We used to have it in the Champions League where we used to watch all the games, but I think they got rid of that like 5-6 years ago. They used to have this thing called goal alert, and like it would flash up. There's been a goal, and you press the red button, and it quickly shows you the replay of it, and then you can just go back to watching your game. That was when football was fun in the UK to watch. Now it's boring because obviously, like even with the Champions League, I think it's better the Champions League because you do get to switch through them, but the Premier League is not entertaining over here. A lot of people like stream it. You have to pay for the Champions League too? You have to pay for the Champions League too? Yeah, it comes under Sky and BT, so not really, but it's so
Holy
spread out.
shit.
Kind of.
What if,
Yeah.
so if you don't pay a certain amount of money, you could, and you don't have tickets to the game, you could miss the Arsenal game unless you pay a certain amount of money a month.
Literally, so you would have to pay like minimum $50 a month to watch Arsenal, and then it depends what kind of game it is. I reckon the cheapest Arsenal ticket is probably like 45, £50, so like 60, $70. But if you go to a big game, so say Liverpool, even Man U, Man City, whatever, that would cost you £100 plus, so maybe like $120, $130.
Can you buy individual games if Arsenal's not on TV and you don't have a ticket to the game?
Nah.
Oh my God!
I know. It's so bad. Like you thought. I'll tell you what. I know Americans with their what is it, politics and stuff. It's all communism versus capitalism. America's pretty good for capitalism in a way or for TV anyway. But you really see the effects of capitalism, like the negative effects of capitalism. I feel like I'm not that political, but there is negatives to both. You really see the negative effects of capitalism when you're a football fan in the UK. You just cannot watch anything unless you pay loads of money, and even then, you can't watch half of it because, like people like the BBC and other stuff, they show it all at 10 o'clock at night on something called Match of the Day. So it's kind of
we have Match of the Day here too.
Yeah, so you got Gary Lineker and whoever, Ian Wright talking about the games, and they show the highlights. And the reason why I think they don't show a lot of the 3 o'clock games is so more people watch Match of the Day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't. I hate when I have to watch Match of the Day. Only because, like I told you, I try to watch all of the games within like a 24 to 48 hour period, depending on my wife and kids. They always seem to need me for something stupid, like a jar they can't get open. But whatever. My point is that here in America, they got to show you the scores like through the whole fucking game. And if you look up in the right hand corner, it'll ruin a game you want to watch. After you watch that game. But I tell you, I'm really surprised at how they bleed you guys for money for the #1 sport by far in the country. I cannot believe they do that to you. Even the shitty NFL here gives you games all over the fucking place. I don't use the F word in NFL because that's not football when you don't use your fucking feet at all in the game. But as far as all the other stuff, I'm not going to get political with you, but I still, even with all of the prices you have to pay to watch football, I rather live there with all the other problems we have around here. I really would.
I'll tell you what, it's good being here though, because even though you can't watch it, people still talk about it. It's like what everyone's talking about. So like you don't even need to check your phone for the score. You just go ask your friend, hey, what's the score in the Arsenal game? What's the score in the Liverpool game? Everyone just knows. It's kind of like common knowledge. It just spreads.
Yeah. Well, no, that's an individual thing for me. If I can't for some reason watch the Arsenal game live, I will not go on social media. I will not have the TV on. I don't want to know. I'm not like, hey, what's the score? I can't see it, but I want to know the fucking score. No, I want to watch the game from beginning to end, not know anything. Ryan, are you joining us again or what?
Sorry, my brother just called me. He just finished work early, so he's let me know he's on his way home, basically. Okay. So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Niall, you've got a plan anyway.
I'm all good, man. Niall is good people. I enjoyed talking to him there. I don't know how much our audience enjoyed that, but I enjoyed that.
Learn about. We were talking about football and how we have to pay to watch it over here, and we can't watch the 3 o'clock games.
Oh no, it's ridiculous. Oh, it's absolutely ridiculous. Well, what was it? They've released the broadcasting channels, BT Sports, Sky, and Amazon have joined our thing this season. Basically, New Year's Day, Sky, for the first time in God knows how long, are not showing a single game on New Year's Day. It's all on BT.
Yeah. You'll be able to watch it, Glenn.
But the thing is, Glenn, you're fine. But BT, anyone that's over here who if you haven't got the BT itself, or you've got Sky, you've got them paying more, another 30, 40 quid on top of your Sky bill to have BT every month to watch football.
That's ridiculous.
And the punditry is appalling. Michael Owen. Owen Hargreaves, Steve McManaman, Ian Hoddle.
I'll tell you
Rio
what, like,
Ferdinand.
it's so bad that Robbie Savage is actually the best one. That's how bad it is.
Oh yeah, Chris Sutton as well. Don't forget Chris Sutton and his ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, it says something. Robbie Savage is the most liked person on BT.
Literally.
So we were talking about lineups for Sheffield United, and only I gave my dumb opinion. I didn't hear what you guys, how you would line up or whatever, and what you think the game's going to be like. I already gave my opinion.
Well, every game I've been saying Pepe is going to score, and he hasn't.
So say he's not going to score. I'm sick of these people saying he sucks.
He won't score. He's got a hat trick now.
I'll tell you what, like I am a massive knee jerk when it comes to just reactions, and I have give it because I love Pepe. I love how skillful he is. He reminds me of Neymar a little bit, just how he always goes for the nutmeg, and he's so good and quick and whatever. But he is so inconsistent, and he has annoyed me so much. I'm on the anti-Pepe team.
Oh my God.
I would rather play Saka. I would genuinely rather play Saka than Pepe at the minute until Pepe proves himself.
My argument to all Pepe's, because you got other fans saying that's it, 8 games, no, he's nothing, he ain't worth it, writing him off straight away. Henri, when he came to us from Serie A, it took him a few games. It took him time to settle in. Bergkamp took him a few months to settle in, and once they some players do just come in and hit the ground running, and some players, as I said, Bergkamp, Henri, and now Pepe, take time. But once he does settle in properly, he scores a goal from open play, we'll be fine.
So many people like Niall have gotten so frustrated with Pepe, and I'm sure they've heard every argument, like Henri, and every argument about how it takes time. I think Pepe's reaching that point with people like Niall, and correct me if I'm wrong, where he's got to show it on the field. He's just got to show it on the field.
Cool.
And Andrew's here, guys.
Hey, what's up, old man?
How you doing? You all right?
What are you doing? I'm not used to being the angriest man on the panel.
Oh, I'm here now, mate. I'm here now.
I
could take that mantle off you, no problem.
we were just talking about Pepe, and Niall was saying he'd rather. Who'd you say you'd rather start, Niall?
I would rather play
Saka. Yeah,
Saka's been well on form. He's the same kind of player, really. He's very skillful, and I don't know. I just feel like if we're playing it on form, Saka's the one at the minute.
Would you start Pepe, Andrew?
I think at the moment we've got to continue with Pepe. I think it would affect his confidence even more if we dropped him, to be perfectly honest. And I'm hoping that the goal he scored whilst on international duty, again, is going to give him a bit more of a lift. I think that it's going to make a big difference having Lacazette on the pitch as well, because he's not had Lacazette so far, well, very, very briefly anyway. And I think that's going to make a big difference to Pepe's game. So I'm really concerned that by dropping it, because I was humming and ahhing, I must admit. No, I was along the lines of the way you were thinking, Niall, to be perfectly honest. But the more and more I thought about it, I think it'll be quite damaging if we left him out and dropped him on poor form when he's only made 5 starts in the Premier League.
I'm thinking the other way around, though. I'm thinking if we drop a £70 million player for a 17-year-old youngster, that is going to be so good for Saka. That's what I'm thinking.
I was just going to say it'll be really, really unfair on Saka because he's done nothing wrong either, and it's a really, really tough choice. I mean, it could go either way. I'd be very reluctant to leave out Saka. I really would, but I'm also concerned, like I've already mentioned, about Pepe, and I really do think that he needs to play through this difficult spell.
I think Pepe's going to get better with Bellerin and Tierney both in there at the same time, because we're going to be able to play. Since Unai Emery insists on playing out of the back no matter what, I think that's going to be much more of a better flow. That didn't even make sense, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Especially with Bellerin overlapping Pepe. You've seen it a lot where Pepe's had to drop back a lot because Maitland loves to run maybe too high up the pitch, and I feel like Pepe's had to kind of look after him and be responsible for Maitland-Niles a lot of the time. So we could see Bellerin link up with Pepe quite well.
It's a very good point. Yeah, he hasn't had a sort of a solid person to work with either, because he's been sort of interchanging between Maitland-Niles and Chambers. And I think Bellerin will make a massive difference to him, especially being on the overlap, taking away the defender as well, giving him more room to run into. I think that'd be, a very good point.
Ryan, you haven't weighed in on what you would do against Sheffield United. Why am I acting like the host? I'm sorry, Ryan. You know why? Because I was in radio for years, and it just comes. I can't help myself. I'm sorry, Ryan. I'll be quiet now.
Just shut the fuck up, Glenn. Give Ryan a chance.
Talking like that, you should live in New York, fucker.
I've literally got to pop downstairs 2 minutes. Let my brother in because he's back from work now. I'll be back in a minute. So you guys chat away and. Yes, I'll be back in 2 minutes. Sorry about this.
Oh, you crack me up, Ryan. You're like a friend I have here in the States. If you want him to be somewhere, this friend I have in the States, you have to tell him to be there 15 minutes earlier than the real time. Yeah. That's Ryan.
The last time I back him up as well. He can fuck off now and all.
So what kind of lineup? I'll take over. Right, Andrew, what kind of lineup would you go with Sheffield United?
Well, I don't know whether Lacazette. We've probably all seen the video of Lacazette training, and I don't know whether he's going to be able to start yet. Hoping so, but I am probably thinking he's going to be on the bench personally. I haven't heard a lot about Bellerin as well. I've heard a lot about Tierney being ready to start. I haven't heard whether Bellerin's ready to start. So I'm going to have to assume that he's not, and I'll assume that Lacazette's not then. But I would go, if that's the case, I'll go with Chambers at the back. Well, another one I haven't heard much about is Holding, whether he's ready to start either.
Yeah.
I thought Holding and Bellerin were both ready with this hideous 2 weeks off.
I haven't read anything. I haven't had anything concrete.
Yeah.
I've looked on the Arsenal official website for all the news, and nothing has come out yet to say that they are. But actually, let's just assume that they are. I will say that let's assume that they are. Then let's go the other way. I'd have Bellerin obviously at the right back. I would have Holding and Louise in the central defence. I would have Tierney. Yeah. We all know this ain't going to happen anyway, but let's go through it anyway.
Would you think positive for 5 seconds?
I'll have Guendouzi and Torreira sort of sitting a bit deeper. Okay. I would have Ozil slightly in front of them, and then I would have the front three of Pepe, Lacazette, and Aubameyang.
Oh, you'd sit Ceballos or Ceballos, however you say it.
The big people you've left out there are Socrates, our captain Xhaka, and Ceballos.
Oh yeah, that's wishful thinking. He's not going to sit his fucking captain.
Yeah.
Unai Emery's pushed all his chips on fucking Xhaka as far as his job goes.
Yeah, I know.
But I like your lineup except Ceballos instead of Ozil. You can bring Ozil. I want Ozil on the bench.
I'll be very happy with either, to be perfectly honest. I just want to see Ozil back integrated within the squad. And that's really unusual for me. You've probably seen and heard a lot of all the stuff I've said in the past, but it's another thing I've been thinking about a lot recently. And I just can't get past the fact that all the best bits of play we've had in the last 5 or 6 years, looking at all the highlights of all the best things we've been doing on the pitch, include Ozil. And I think I did read that interview with him on The Athletic, and a lot of it just makes a lot of sense, to be perfectly honest. He has been through a lot of crap in the last couple of years, He really has. And he's a human being, and he's got to have affected him. And I would just love to see an Ozil that's really up for it on the pitch. And let's face it, we have given him loads of chances. We have. And if he fails this time, it's got to be his last chance. But I would just like to give him this one last chance, personally.
Do you think that the whole incident with the knife attack affect his performance at all? Because it hasn't really affected Glass much.
Well, everyone's different, aren't they? And his wife was absolutely petrified. He was actually. Did you read the interview?
Yeah. So Ozil's wife is very keen on moving back to Germany or Turkey. So she's made that very public. She spoke to a few people about that. So Ozil is not only fighting his team and what he should do for his career, he's also fighting his family.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
and he just got married, right?
Yeah.
Well, apparently she's okay now, though. If you read that interview, the latter part of the interview, it said that she's okay, happy to stay now, and but it's bound to have affected him.
I just
And,
have a feeling,
like I said, everyone's mental state. Mate,
yeah.
Sorry, go on.
I have a feeling every time Ozil does something bad, or he gets bad press, or anything bad happens to him in the team or off the pitch, he's going to have his girlfriend in the back of his head or back of his ear telling him that they should leave. I have a feeling that's happening.
Well, it all affects us differently. You know what I mean? It's some people are, can handle things a little bit better mentally, but you get PTSD from stuff like that. And I can understand his wife being, frightened. The thing is, he just got married, and I would think that her being frightened would make it more likely he would, want to leave for her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you're married like me for a long time, no, we're not fucking leaving. I'm sorry. But but and I don't mean that disrespectfully. Yeah. Married men know what I'm talking about.
Well, there have been talks about Besiktas. That's been quite a big talking point.
I honestly don't think he's going anywhere. I really, really don't. And I can't. That's the other big thing, because on it, if everyone's on form, he's still our best player. There's no doubt about that. And we're paying him good money, as everyone keeps bringing up every 5 minutes. And it just seems if he's definitely going to be staying here. And I believe what he said. He's here, and I think he's hoping that he might outlast Emery as well. And it's why not use him? Why not use the guy's talent? Why not?
Give me 10 seconds, Niall, because I just want to repeat something I said earlier that Andrew didn't hear. I thought Ozil said all the right things, but I'm not going to listen to him until I see performance on the pitch. And if he starts on Monday, I'm not going to complain. I'm just going to be watching and rooting for him. Okay, I'm sorry, Niall. Go ahead.
That's okay. Yeah, we've also got the issue of Ozil, where it's a bit like with Alexis Sanchez when we had to do the swap deal with Man United. And honestly, we lost out on that deal massively. We are paying Ozil so much, and you could argue that his form and his recent performances and lack of playing time is going to affect his value. And now, if his value is lower and his wages are high, we are not going to get a good deal out of getting rid of him. So, from a business point of view, it might actually be better just to keep him. And
I would rather keep him, definitely. Yeah, I agree.
You've also got the shirt sales. He's one of the most followed players in our team. He's one of the most loved players in our team. So, what do you think, Andrew?
Well, I think that I'd rather keep him than send him away on loan and pay half of his wages. I mean, I can't see a point in that.
Yeah, because we're going to have to pay. We're going to either have to give him away for free or swap him for someone crap, or we're going to have to pay half the wages. That's basically what's going to go down. Well,
exactly. And I'm going to play devil's advocate with one other point. Everyone that watches football knows that for a player to reach his full potential, he has to have a run of games, uninterrupted run of games. When has he ever had that? The last 2 years without being dropped for a few games and then put back in, and then dropped and then put back in.
That's very true.
He hasn't. He hasn't at all. You have to get into a groove. You have to play several matches. We all know that as football fans, and he doesn't get that opportunity. So there's no point in giving him a 60 minutes here, 60 minutes there, and then not playing him for 2 or 3 games, because no one's going to get into form.
Oh, I agree with that. I don't understand Unai Emery, and I want Unai Emery to succeed. But he punishes Ozil for supposedly not being hard enough in practice, practicing hard enough. But he takes Xhaka, who leads the league in giveaways that lead to goals, and makes him the fucking captain. It's like, all right, so Ozil does. Harry of the Chronicles of Aguna brought this up the other day. I thought it was brilliant. It's like you're punishing Ozil for what he's doing in practice, but you're making Xhaka your captain. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand Unai Emery.
Yeah,
he's not done. He's not done anything wrong in the matches that he has played so far this season as a leader. To be perfectly honest, he's got a lot of bad press about everything every time he steps on the pitch. But from what I saw, he played well against Watford in the first half. He played well against Forest, and he was taken off and then humiliated. To be perfectly honest,
I'll tell you what though, Andrew, we have had a massive history, especially in the last 15 years, of having terrible cup runs. Pre our FA Cup wins, we had bad FA Cup runs. We had even the Europa League. You could say we struggled at the start until we start playing our full team in the later rounds. But if we have Ozil as our second team player, you could say that might help us get to a lot higher rounds in the leagues, in the cup. Sorry.
Again, he's not. If you do that though, how's he going to get his match fitness and form? Because they're only once every 2 weeks. Those games at the most. I don't know.
With the big festive period we've got coming up after the next international break, where we've got literally like a game every 2 days, pretty much. I think that's when they'll start rotating. You'll see a lot more of Ozil in that late November, December time.
Well, that's another reason why I'm, I know we're all different, but I'm very positive about the team. We're deeper this year because the youngsters have taken that extra step early, and I'm very excited. I'm not worried about too many games because this squad to me, is deeper than it was last year.
Yeah, I'm really happy with the squad.
They don't tell the media that they don't like that because of Arsenal, but with Chelsea, they're the saviours. They invest in their youth.
Oh fuck that.
They're forgetting Chelsea are only using their youth now because they have to, not because they want to. No matter what Lampard says, because he keeps saying, "Oh, they deserve it." Yeah, they deserve it, but they wouldn't be getting a place, the chance, if you weren't on a transfer ban.
Yeah, and Tammy Abraham's one of the highest scorers in the league now, and that's not because they put him in the team and they gave him a chance, it's because he's their only option.
It's a long season. Let Chelsea enjoy the success they're having now. It's a long season. They're not finishing top 4. The media likes it. I can see it all the time when I talk to you guys. The media just likes winding up Arsenal fans, because it gets them hits, the reaction to their shitty stories like that hit job on Mustafi. If my advice to you, Ryan, is don't watch the fucking media. Because they do it here in the States too, with other stuff, not football. But the media just trying to wind you up.
Yeah, did you guys see that there was an announcement today from Tottenham? Apparently,
Andrew saw it. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear this. What happened?
So, have you seen a Man City documentary, All or Nothing? They do a lot of different football clubs.
On Amazon Prime.
Yeah, so Tottenham announced today that this season they've been filming All or Nothing and been filming their season so far.
I put a tweet out about it. I'm so excited. It's the best possible opportunity, best season of all time to actually do this, and I can't believe they've done it. We're going to see them collapse and cry in front of our eyes.
Oh my God.
It's what you were just saying there, Glenn, wasn't it? About the media having an effect on you. I feel like that explains why Tottenham have been so bad. They've had cameras in their faces.
Oh, I can't. What a fucking awful choice. They have, for me, Tottenham have given up on playing for Pochettino. I don't think they're playing for him anymore. That is just ridiculous. You sure this documentary is still going and the director wasn't like, fuck it!
Get out.
They did Sunderland, didn't they? And even though they got relegated, they're really bad.
Netflix.
I saw that on Netflix. Is that good? I keep meaning to watch it. It's on my watch list, but I haven't watched it yet. Is it good?
It's good, yeah, but halfway through the season, Sunderland wanted to cancel it, and they were like, "No, we've already done it. You've got a contract. You've got to keep it going." And I have such a good feeling that Tottenham are going to do that with us All or Nothing. If their form, maybe if Harry Kane gets injured, Son or whoever, something happens, it's going to be so funny.
Oh my God.
we're going to get St. Totteringham's Day in about February. So, and imagine their reaction. And you imagine when, like, Vertonghen goes and shags someone else's missus. It's going to be absolutely incredible. He might even do it on camera.
Right, the media should just be winding up Tottenham players a minute, just so this documentary is funnier. I swear.
It's going to be hilarious. I can't wait to see them capitulate right in front of my eyes.
I've been saying pretty much the last few weeks, when your key player in Eriksen, in my opinion, within a week and a half after the Champions League final result, is coming out with a statement saying, I'm looking elsewhere now. I want to move on. But if nothing comes along, I'm happy to stay, sort of thing. But you got no choice in that matter. First,
it's so cheesy. He'd be run out of town if he was on Arsenal.
When your best player does that, that's it. And then obviously the activity they lacked in the transfer window, no matter what the media say, it says a lot. And it's the fact that what if you believe the stories about Vertonghen, he's back at the end of he's in the last year of his contract. Odegaard as well. So, Dele Alli's overrated. He's dropping now. Son's arguably their best player that wants to be there. Everyone else wants out.
Tottenham have had one of the best defenses in the league for a good 6-7 years now. And when Vertonghen and Alderweireld leave, they're going to be a lot like us. They're going to struggle with the defence.
They've literally got one left back, and that's Danny Rose. If they lose and they've got no other left back. They're going to be playing Sissoko. They're literally be playing Sissoko or somebody at fullback.
Sissoko's played right back.
Yeah, he played against us. He played right back.
I've got to pick you up on one thing as well, Ryan. You said that Dele Alli's fallen. Well, he's fallen from where? He weren't ever up there in the first place. The pilot fucking cat.
That's our
old bastard.
The thing is, it's true though. He literally had half a decent season, and the media just jumped on him and hyped him up to be this amazing playmaker.
He's rubbish, absolutely rubbish. He did that one. He had a month where he scored about 2 or 3 really good goals, and he's been living off that ever since.
Yeah,
stupid cunt.
He's playing defence. he's playing for defence for Tottenham, but he's like first team France as a right winger.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on. It's the same with Giroud though. Giroud can't even get in a Chelsea team, and he's playing up front for blimmin' France.
I don't know.
And Lacazette doesn't get shot.
I think Giroud signed a deal with the fucking devil. He starts over Lacazette for France.
There is some sort of blackmail going on now. And they're getting lucky with it.
There's a Mesut Ozil thing going on, I think, with France because
I really
Giroud can't get in the Chelsea squad, but he can get in the France squad. But
there's been history of that though.
That's because Mbappe's injured though.
But Deschamps, it's like since that World Cup, he's refused. Obviously, Lacazette missing it through injury. He's refused to pick him no matter what. Now it's like no matter what he does, he's never going to be picked. I love Deschamps.
Benzema as well. It's a lot.
Well, Benzema's own fault though.
Well, I'm glad that he ain't getting picked personally. Because
it's less worry for us for 2 weeks of would he get injured.
You guys excuse me a second while I mute my microphone and chase my son out of here.
Well, Giroud's only playing for France because Mbappe's injured anyway. So long may it continue that he gets picked over Lacazette, to be perfectly honest, because it just gives him more rest time with us. Yeah. He ain't going to get injured on international duty, is he?
No. Yeah. Obviously, Andrew came in late. I don't know if they spoke about it when I disappeared for a couple of minutes. Mesut Ozil, what was your thoughts yesterday whenever it was when he came out with his interview?
I did. I talked about it whilst you were off, so you can look at it later, you lazy cunt.
Oh.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. But I have turned full circle, to be perfectly honest, and I really want to get him in and give him a chance personally. I think that he's. The other problem is, and like I said to the other guys, is that when as football fans, we all know that I'm going to plough on as a professional. As football fans, we know that it takes any player several games, a run of games, uninterrupted run of games, to get into.
I'm listening to Andrew and watching Glenn.
Did you see the one where his curtain got ripped down? That on one of my shows. Yeah, that was well funny.
Ballistic. You didn't do a sunny though.
I know. Yeah, exactly.
If anyone that doesn't know, Sonny was on Andrew's channel the other night, and then for some bizarre out of nowhere, had flipped out and disappeared mid show. So.
Well, I've watched. Just to digress a little bit, I've watched it back and listened to it a couple of times now. I still can't get my head around why he did that. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, we all know it takes any player in the world several games, uninterrupted games, to get their flow, get the rhythm, get their form, get their match fitness. And when's he had that the last couple of seasons? He hadn't had an uninterrupted run of games, so that's what he needs. And I really would like to see him, whilst we've still got him during his sort of prime years, if you like, to give him another chance. I've got no problems if Ceballos starts. Obviously, I love Ceballos. I really do. On Monday, but I can't get past the fact I'd love to see Özil. I'd love to see Özil back in the squad and just see what he could do.
Yeah. I think. Do you think he'll start on Monday? Or do you think he'll bring him off the bench?
I think he'll be on the bench. I think he'll travel.
And then start him, and then obviously with the game in mind on Thursday, probably throw him out on Thursday for a run.
Yeah, that's more likely. I think he might come on Monday, but I've never seen him be effective off the bench either for anyone, whether that's Germany, whether that's Real Madrid, whether that's with us. He's always started, obviously, and I've never seen him be effective.
Yeah, he's a lot like Leo Messi. He likes to analyze the game and get a feel of it. If you just kind of throw him in, he's not too effective.
Yeah, so I don't know about that, but I think he will be part of the squad, and no one can say he shouldn't be part of the 18 every week, because I mean that's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
and I do think everything that happened to him earlier on in the season. I mean, have you read that full interview, Ryan?
I haven't read it, but I've read snippets of it. But I watched Emery's, because they obviously asked him yesterday in his press conference, and I was like, listening to the whole thing. It's like Emery started saying, like, obviously he was doing really well in pre-season, and then obviously then the events of what happened just before the season started that did have an effect on him, this, that, and the other, and then obviously that when integrated into the start of the season, it affected him even more. Then as he was coming back to full fitness, he got ill, but now he's starting to see more of his fitness levels and seeing happy what he's seen in the training pits, which suggests that he's more. Which does suggest that he's contemplating and actually giving him more game time now.
I can't help believing that he's been told. I can't help thinking that he's been told to put him back in the team. To make such a U-turn within a few days it's just ridiculous. He said in his pressy.
Sorry, it was the timing as well. Literally, the day of the press conference, this was released. It's like his hand was forced. Literally,
I know. Well, he said in that press conference that he's been training better now for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And that it was only about a week ago that he sort of slagged him off, saying he's 2 weeks ago maybe. So that's just ridiculous, and I can't help but think that he's been told to put him back in the squad, because if we do want to get rid of him, then we've got to put him in a shop window for a start. You know, he's got to get match fit. He's got to impress people.
It was like the guys were saying earlier. It's like with Emery, it's like he says one thing about Özil, and then selection drops him. But with Xhaka, who's got all this stats-wise, it goes against him. He's most incidents that leads to goals against us, this, that, and the other. But he's our captain, so it's like he contradicts himself. And as I said, it's like his hands with the interview being dropped yesterday morning and everything like that. It's like going into it, his hand was forced, and all of a sudden he's saying certain things, as you said, that he weren't saying a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, one thing that hasn't improved this year is the Arsenal PR department, man. It's like one person says one thing, one person says the other, or things look obviously coordinated, like I felt yesterday with the Ozil story, and then Emery saying yes, he's looked better now. We don't know. It's all speculation, but I don't think they handle their PR very well at all.
I think one thing, Glenn, I do think the actual Arsenal PR department has improved this year. With Josh Kroenke coming out and talking to us a couple of times when he didn't have to. I think it's down to Emery that says weird things every now and then, like Poch does. And unfortunately, on my show on Wednesday, I couldn't remember what Emery had said that was really weird, and I still can't, unfortunately. But Pochettino has come out and said some really strange things that he should never say in public, which aren't going to give his players much confidence either. And he's always going on about wanting to leave all the time. And Emery hasn't covered himself in glory with a lot of the press conferences he's done as well. So I think that's not down to Arsenal PR department. I think it's the Emery saying the wrong things. And he's had he definitely didn't want to sell Mkhitaryan and Iwobi this summer.
No,
I don't think, Emery. He played them an
Well,
awful
especially-
lot last year, and they
especially
sold
Iwobi.
him. I think they took the options away from him and sold them from under his nose.
Yeah,
And
he really gave Iwobi a chance last season, and
He really
sometimes
did.
it cost
And
us,
Mkhitaryan.
and- Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I
with-
don't understand why we got rid of him.
We're staying on that thing. Then, do you think
guys-
then that with the board, do you believe that with that in mind that they don't see him going past this season, no matter what happens in the league, if he gets Champions League or not? If they're calling
Well-
shots like that,
Well,
I don't think he's ever been more than that. I think he's never been more than a transitional manager for the couple of seasons. And don't forget, he's not a manager; he's a head coach.
yeah.
He's got to coach the players that he's given.
Have we sorted out if he has a 3-year contract yet? I heard that the other day, and I was like so sad. Does Emery actually have a 3-year contract?
I was always led to believe it was 2 years with an option of the third.
No,
I was always
well, I think that is actually the incorrect one. I think the correct one, from what I read, is that he's got a 3-year deal, but after the second year, there's a break clause.
if he
There's a
doesn't
break
meet
clause after year 2.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a recent one. Yeah.
Going back quick to the PR department, Andrew, you made a great point. I love how upfront they have been with the transfer market and how Josh Kroenke, and I hate saying good things about him, but I'm going to because, credit where it's due. They said in January we're going to do some stuff too. So, yeah, I take your point on that with the PR department being better in some aspects. As far as Iwobi, I don't want to touch. That's a hot topic still, even though he's not with us anymore. I've seen a couple Everton games. I can't say I've seen them all, but he hasn't looked much better. So I'm not mourning him the way you guys are as far as leaving.
I'm not mourning him. I'm just saying that Emery liked him and they sold him from under his nose. So I don't regret selling him personally. I think we got a good deal in the end.
I misunderstood you. I apologize.
Yeah, no, I just think that he hasn't got a say in who he sells and brings in.
Yeah, I personally feel like this is the first time Arsenal have had a really decent squad, and if anything bad happens now, it is fully the head coach's fault.
Let me ask you guys. I'm sorry because I don't want to forget, and I'm old and I forget shit. If he makes top 4, do you guys keep him another year, Emery?
Yeah.
Depends.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably the reason why they did the 2-year and then a break deal, because it's, are you going to get Champions League in 2 years? If not, get rid of you. But if he does, then that'll probably be the 3rd year.
If he does get us top 4, but we still by the end of the season still don't have an identity in our style of play, then I'd have to say sorry. Get someone else who's more experienced that will straight from the off give us a style of play.
I
it's
think
all well and good, because otherwise you keep him no style of play, and then next season Chelsea can then strengthen because they're no longer on a transfer ban. Man United, we don't know what's going to happen there. Tottenham could strengthen depending on what happens there, and then we're back to square one where we were when we first came in the sense of we'll scrape results against the smaller teams, but when it comes against the bigger teams away from home, we'll get absolutely trounced on, and we'll miss out again. We're back to square one where we're not getting top 4 again.
I think we're the 3rd best team in the league, and that's my high watermark for Emery. 3rd place.
Squad-wise, yeah. But as I've been saying since like the second game of the season, if we don't get top 4 at least a minimum of 4th, my expectation is 3rd in the cup. No matter what, I don't care what cup it is.
I agree with Ryan completely with that. I feel like looking at the team we have at the minute and the situation other clubs are in the league, such as Man U,
it's down to the manager.
Especially with like Chelsea being on a transfer ban, Tottenham having a bad run. I feel like it's a bit of a Leicester winning the league season at the minute, as in we've got our chance to get 3rd. Where I feel like we haven't improved that much, but we should come 3rd because everyone else is doing so bad. But if we don't improve more by the end of the season, as you say, get an identity style of play, I can't see us getting to top 4 next season.
Every time someone talks about that Leicester season, without fail, my next thought is we should have won the league that year. But,
that was Giroud's fault. That was Giroud's fault.
No, my opinion is I want 3rd in a cup as well, because and nothing else will do for me. And the only way I would also want him to stay is if we do somehow after getting all the players back that have been injured, if we start really clicking and playing some really good attacking, attractive football that goes for the jugular and kills teams off rather than being the pathetic, useless bunch of idiots in the second half as we have been lately, then I'll be very happy to keep him. But at the moment, I absolutely hate watching the team play in the league. I can't stand it at the moment. It's dreadful.
In the league, we're playing this completely negative, pessimistic style of play. But when it comes to the Europa League, 2 games in the Europa League and against Forest, it's like a completely different Arsenal. We've actually got a style, an attacking style, an intent to go forward.
So frustrating. Even Chelsea has a style now. We still don't have a style.
Well, we are like the baddie in all the Rocky movies. we absolutely batter Rocky until the last punch, and then we get beaten at the end because we don't kill him off.
Oh, that's the best metaphor I ever heard in a while. Okay, you win the internet today, Andrew. That was good.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So
we ain't got the killer instinct. We don't beat and just kill the teams off. We just let them come back into the match and beat us, or it look like they're going to beat us, and that it's just awful. I mean, we were so on top in the Bournemouth game, and the second half we just played like a load of pussies, and it was embarrassing.
Aggravated that game.
One player you haven't really touched on is Martinelli. Would you have him on the bench at least on Monday evening?
Oh, I rate Martinelli so high.
Yeah.
I think it's very unlucky that we have such a good attack with him in the squad as well, because Martinelli is going to be so good one day. He reminds me of like Gnabry, Carlos Vela. Like, he's going to be good one day. Give it 5 years, he'll be one of the best in the world. But like, is he going to get that chance at Arsenal?
At least Tony Pulis.
I'd rather have Martinelli as our third striker. So I'm glad that we have him. Yeah. That's my opinion. I'm glad he's on the squad and we didn't loan him out.
To think Man United thought he wasn't good enough or better than what they already have.
Like,
well, that just shows you where they are now.
Exactly.
I think he's the most exciting young player I've ever seen for Arsenal. I don't think I'm actually exaggerating that.
You're not
from the first moment I saw him against Fiorentina, I've been hooked by the guy, and I think that
there's a hunger there as well. Like the Brazilian, when we were being brought up, I've seen Brazil's that hunger, that desire we haven't seen for so many years. This kid comes in, plays like 5 minutes in training with the Brazil squad, comes to us from the slumps of Brazil, what the second, fourth division, whatever it was, to a club of our standing in the Premier League. And he's hit the ground running. He's scoring goals of what you'd expect an elite finished article striker, not someone you wouldn't. With these finishes, you wouldn't think he was a kid.
No, not at all. When we got him, one of the things they said is he was voted Countryside Player of the Year, and I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Was he barefoot kicking melons, and now he's playing for us? But I was so wrong about him.
I'll tell you what. There are 2 things I love about Martinelli, as well as his flair. It is his ability to dribble at such high speeds. He's one of our quickest players. He is one of our quickest players. I would argue he's just as quick as Bellerin. He is so quick, and he can dribble at that speed. And secondly, he always knows where the goal is. He's got this like sensor. He just, like, you saw his goal the other day where he just turned and shot. That is a striker's finish. He is a proper striker.
That shit is the shit you can't teach, man. I fucking love
that.
It's
natural talent.
I think he's a cross between Ronaldo and Carlos Tevez. He's got Ronaldo's pace and, well, it looks like aerial ability as well. But he's got the sort of the stature and the work rate of Carlos Tevez and the skills. I think he's he's got everything, and he's more than a striker, because a lot of strikers, like I class Eddie Nketiah as a very, very promising striker. He gets into the right spaces in the 6-yard box, and he's just there. He's got a knack of being in the right place at the right time. But I think Martinelli's got more about him in the fact that the way that he can use the whole of the 18-yard box rather than just getting into the 6-yard box is something that you don't see very often. His skill is incredible, and the way he Completely agree. No, I've never seen a better dribbler at his age either. And he's not like a normal Brazilian. He's his work rate and work ethic is like I struggle to think of another player, especially at his age, that works as hard as he does and tracks back. You know, he tracked back from one end of the pitch to the other. I think it was the Standard, wasn't it? I think might have been.
Standard,
I mean, it was just that is incredible, and he's really taken his football education very seriously within his own family as well. I read somewhere that his family actually hired him a nutritionist and a personal trainer, of their own money. And that just says everything about how serious he's taking his career. And I think the sky's the limit. He's got to be on the bench for every Premier League game, and he's got to start every single cup game.
Yeah,
he's got to.
I'll tell you what. A lot of you guys won't agree with this, but if we are playing Lacazette as our only striker and Aubameyang on a wing, I would play Martinelli a bit like Gabriel Jesus at Man City, and I would take Lacazette off around the 60th minute and rotate them as strikers. That's what I would do if I was Henry. And that would also mean Lacazette wouldn't get injured as much.
Well, especially going into this busy period now we're going to go into for the next month or two, where it's going to be game after game after game. That's going to help us benefit. That's going to benefit us with fitness levels for all our players.
You know, even though you're kind of off the Pepe train, Niall, I would take any three of you as manager over Unai Emery right now. I like what you're saying. Guys, I have to go. I'm sorry. Next time you'll have me for the full whatever Gone with the Wind time length you'd like to do, Ryan. But I have to go now. Niall, I look forward to seeing your website. I saw some awesome videos on there. Andrew, always a pleasure. Ryan, you'll have me for the whole show next time, okay?
No
all right, thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'll talk to you soon.
That's me, Glenn.
Take care, mate.
Take care, bro.
Yeah,
Niall, I did a podcast about that subject, and I totally agree. I think he's got to get minutes all the time, this kid, and I'm really a big advocate for him coming on in the last 20 to 30 minutes and really ripping teams apart. Can you? I mean, I was so angry when we played against Spurs because I think it's a podcast I did before then. I really wanted him to be on the bench for that game and come on because can you imagine what he would have done to
fucking their back line?
Sanchez, Davison Sanchez, that last half an hour.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'm a very optimistic Arsenal fan, and all my life I've picked a youth player and I've gone, you're going to be great one day. And I did it with Serge Gnabry, I did it with Carlos Vela, and I haven't done it for a long time. I'll tell you what. But Martinelli, first time in a while, I've gone, you are going to be amazing one day. And I'm loving how every other Arsenal fan agrees with me. This is the first time people are actually agreeing that this guy is talented. This guy is good. And I feel like the Arsenal fans have kind of evolved. Do you guys agree? Like we're putting faith in young talent and we're agreeing with it.
Well, yeah, I think people my age have been calling out for the youth to come through for... Well, as long as I can remember. I mean, because I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and the whole starting 11 was all academy prospects and in English players, and I've been longing for that for years and years and years. And apparently, I think it was on. I think it might have been the Purely Arsenal podcast, maybe. I might be wrong, but they talked about the academy at Hale End and how it's completely evolved because not too long ago, only 4 or 5 years ago, the academy was under threat of being closed by the FA because it was it was completely substandard and not fit for purpose. And I know, and it's coincided because they pumped in millions of pounds and completely revamped it and started from the scratch basically. And all these players coming through now would have been about I don't know, between 12 and sort of 13, 14, and you can see what difference it's made now because apart from Iwobi, who else was there? Iwobi, I think that's it. Maybe, yeah, Maitland-Niles, very good point, and Bellerin. But it's not been prolific, has it? Really, in producing
until now.
You know, and we've got a whole crop now, and we've got some youngsters a couple of years behind as well that I've watched highlights of. Like Sam Greenwood, the real Greenwood, and there's another guy, and his name's completely escaped me. He's a Mexican-sounding name. He looks absolutely unbelievable. Aziz, I think his name Miguel Aziz. Yeah, he looks incredible. Yeah. The game I watched, the under-18s game, he literally just ripped this team apart, and he ran the game. And he looks incredible. But if you're good enough, you're old enough in my book. And Martinelli should not be held back just because of his age. I mean, didn't stop Michael Owen, didn't stop Wayne Rooney, and the list could go on probably. And it didn't stop Kylian Mbappe. He's still only 20, is he? Yeah.
There are so many.
He's been the best player in the world, probably.
Like if you were going to list some of the top 10 best players in the world, you could very arguably include some under 21s. You could include Mbappe. You could include De Ligt. You could maybe even put Vinicius Jr. in there. I know Neymar said he's a quality player the other day. Like, there are so many good young players at the minute. And why can you not put Martinelli in that bracket? I feel like we should give him a chance. We should push him in the team.
Well, exactly. Well, look at Lippo Fati from Barcelona as well.
Oh, Fati! I watched the full Barcelona game. I think it was his debut. I actually watched. It was just on telly on like ITV4 or so. I was watching it, and I saw this Fati kid come. I'm like, this guy is quality. This kid, like, I think he was 16. Yeah, the commentator was like 16. I'm like, bloody hell, he's playing like Messi. He's got that confidence. He's just running at players, literally small little guy, mental.
I mean, I know that obviously completely different level and whatever, but Rochdale had that 16-year-old kid that scored at Old Trafford against Man United. They also had a 15-year-old kid on the bench. I don't know whether he came on, but he had a 15-year-old kid on the bench. And I'm not saying that they're completely different levels, obviously, but they've got faith in them at their level to play them on the pitch. And that kid had a school exam the next day. Imagine he went into school, after scoring at Old Trafford. But if you're good enough, you're old enough. It's an old cliche, but I firmly believe in it. And you should not be held back just because of your age. And he's got the build as well. He's actually got the build of someone much older.
Of an elite player of his ilk, of that ilk. But he said he models his career around Ronaldo. You could, as you said about his physique, you can see that in how he plays. And as I said, it's that Brazilian drive that we've always, me and yourself, have always been grown up and seen. But into the last 8 or 9 years, we haven't really seen it in the Brazil squad itself. But he's got that in himself. And what was it? I think it was the Standard Liège game. We were 4 or 5-0 up, and he was still getting the ball, doing his tricks and flicks, and still running at the defence, trying to get more goals.
Oh, he scored that 5th goal, didn't he? In injury time, he scored that 5th goal.
He did.
Yeah,
it was incredible. But if you look at it from an international team point of view, Firmino, arguably not that much of a clinical striker. Like in that Brazil team, he's probably not first choice. Gabriel Jesus isn't maybe Brazil's standard of that elite level that Brazil require. I'd say as a place in Martinelli in that team, like Richarlison was pushing into that Brazil squad.
Well, he could play for Italy as well.
Oh, is he not picked yet?
He can play for Italy or Brazil. So he's got a choice. And I think the Italian team are really exciting at the moment. I think their average starting age in the last international was just gone with 24. They've got a really young team. If I was him, I'd seriously look at them as well because they could be going places. But I think, I don't know. Have a look at or listen to my podcast, the one immediately after the bloody Fiorentina game. I was raving about him, and I said he's a new Ronaldo. The way he picked up that ball and ran the whole length of the pitch and just it reminded me exactly of when Ronaldo joined Man United and he was 17. It was really, because believe it or not, nowadays he was getting pelters from the media, from the fans, from his own fans at Man United. Every shot he had went into Rosette, but he had all the skills in the world, but he had no end product like a Walcott. Yeah, exactly. And but he kept trying. His head never dropped. He kept trying and trying and trying.
I honestly don't doubt that. Like as I say, You got Carlos Vela. He's just broke the record in the MLS. You've got Gnabry, who's arguably Germany's best player at the minute. Every time I see the Germans in the comment sections, they're like, "Where's Gnabry? Where's Gnabry?" And I'll tell you what, Arsenal can produce some quality talent. And I just, as you say, I look at Martinelli. Martinelli is one of them. You know he is. Everyone can tell.
Yeah, the thing with Gnabry is that Wenger allowed Tony Pulis to get into his head and convince him he wasn't good enough.
Bloody Tony Pulis. Don't get me started on that. I remember that. I remember when he said that, and I was like punching walls. I was like, "Are you an idiot? Are you actually stupid?" Tony Pulis, you're the manager of Stoke, for God's sake. Stop listening to it. It was West Brom at the time, wasn't he?
West Brom at the time, but it's gone on. Gnabry's gone on then, left, gone, went to Bremen for a year. Now he's at Bayern Munich, and he's literally a few weeks ago turned up at the enemy's in his eyes because where he's come from, and dominated them, put four past him.
And then he immediately tweets and Instagram.
North London is red.
I love that. I knew he would do that. Everyone was like, "Oh no, he left Arsenal." I'm like, "Nah, just wait. He's gonna say it." Arsenal's like, he is a gunner. He was in that whole like Jack Wilshere, Ramsey like youth setup that Wenger brought up. They're all proper good.
British core.
Yeah, British core, Oxlade. People, they'll always be good. Like, I wouldn't say they helped us much, but they definitely will always be Arsenal, all of them.
Well, Oxlade Chamberlain after the Champions League final was like, me and you, because you're talking to Per Mertesacker, and they were like, we both know how much that meant to the other side of North London, and that was for them sort of thing. But we still hold a place in that sort of place. We still hold a place in their heart because obviously we gave them that stepping stone to go on to do what they've gone and done.
Yeah, you might not agree, but I've seen a lot of interviews with Van Persie's done recently, and even he said the same thing. Arsenal will always hold a place in his heart, and obviously he left to go to Man United just to win the league and whatever. But it is a major stepping stone in his career as well.
Yeah, because
I go back to what you said before. I firmly believe that you can tell. Oh, hello.
Yeah,
I lost you then. I firmly believe that you can tell a really good quality player within a very short period of time of watching them. I really do. I think Jose Mourinho famously said that he can tell a good player within 10 seconds of watching him play. And that's a bit far-fetched, but I still believe that you can tell within a short space of time if someone's really got it or not.
You can.
And
some of the best like football experts, it will just click with them. You'll see it. You'll see it on the pitch. Like if you've ever watched a player for like 10 seconds and you've had an opinion about him, it's probably correct, or it's ended up being correct. But if you overthink
I just think you can, and I get that feeling with Saka. I get that feeling with Martinelli, but Martinelli's on a different level, I think, than everyone else. I don't think it's going to take what you said earlier, 5 seasons. I don't think it will. I think he could be one of the best players in his position in the world within about a couple of years when he's about 20.
I think so too. Yeah, 2021, I see him being up there. What's your opinion on Reece Nelson?
I like Reece Nelson. He's not at the same level, but he's going to be a good player, and he's going to have a lot more end product than Iwobi has as well, because he's been getting pelters as well.
Yeah.
But the thing is, people develop at different paces, and he's only had, I think I'm right in saying, he's only played 4 times so far. And if you count the goal that was chalked off through no fault of his own against Burnley, he's got 2 goals in those starts, and a couple of assists. And so it's not exactly that bad, is it, really?
No, we were talking about the Arsenal PR department earlier. And I went to the Armory this year. I did a stadium tour, and there was so much PR, press, and stuff put on Reece Nelson's shoulders. Out of all the youngsters, he seemed to be the face of the youth setup, the face of the club. And I feel like they only did that for Nelson. Saka, you heard nothing about. You saw no photos of Saka. He was in the same level as Nelson was in terms of coming back in the team. You saw it with Smith Rowe as well. And I feel like the pressure has kind of got to both Smith Rowe and Nelson in terms of just the PR department. I think they screwed up with that.
Well, I do think he's going to be a good player for us, a very good squad player. But he's just not got that extra X factor in the same way that Saka and Martinelli have. But it doesn't mean he's not a good player. And it doesn't mean he couldn't get it as well. But it's like I said, four games with 2 goals, or albeit one of them chalked off because of Nacho Monreal being in an offside position, which he didn't have any control over. And I'm sure he's got a couple of assists as well. So he's not exactly doing that badly. And the only trouble is, I think he could probably be a star candidate for going out on another loan, because I can't see where he's going to get in ahead of Saka and Martinelli at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting though, isn't it? Because at the start of the season, everyone said Reece Nelson, Smith Rowe are going to integrate into the team. And then we got Ceballos, who I'm going to admit not many fans had heard of. And then Saka starts coming through. We get Martinelli on the cheap. And before you know it, we're talking about these other players to people. There was no hype about them at all. And the players where the hype was, there's nothing. You know, we're saying they should go out on loan.
Well, I think that Smith Rowe should be the understudy for Pepe, personally. I do want to see him on the bench. Yeah. Well, who else have we got to play wide right, really?
That's very true, actually. You could obviously put Nelson. He's more of a right mid, though, not really a wide right.
That's what everyone thought, but apparently he prefers coming in from the left. I sort of read that on I think it might have been on the Arse blog or the Arsenal official website, that he prefers coming in from the left. So I don't know, but I would still have Smith Rowe on the bench to understudy Pepe, personally.
When was the last time we had just a normal right mid and left mid instead of these wingers? I can't remember. It's a long time.
Probably, yeah.
Oh God knows.
I don't think
we're probably about 10 years.
Well, a long time. But do you know what? I mean, this sounds really crazy, and you know, I'll get pelters a lot from people for saying this, but I would actually quite like to try, maybe in the Europa League or maybe in the Carabao Cup, the old-fashioned 4-4-2 one, just once, and just to see what Pepe would be like as an actual proper right winger, and have Lacazette and Aubameyang up front. Yeah. No team plays like that anymore, and you get no, but doesn't mean that you can't.
That would also open up another space on the left mid.
Yeah, exactly.
Saka could play on the left mid, or Martinelli.
Exactly. Yeah. I think we'll get a lot more solidity, personally, but people will say, "Oh no, that's really old-fashioned." But you don't have to be a sheep. You don't have to do what everyone else is doing. It's not the law to say that you have to do what Pep Guardiola does or Jurgen Klopp does. You can actually choose your own formations. And I'd just love to see what it'd be like, because I think that would be quite a solid formation for us. And it would mean that Lacazette and Aubameyang would be in their preferred... Well, I want them in the box, because they're two of the best finishers in Europe. Yeah, and yes, Aubameyang can play coming in from the left, but we still lose goals. We would lose goals by doing that. And I think by playing a 4-4-2, it alleviates this problem of, how do we fit them all in up front? How do we play all three up front? How are they going to interchange? Well, I think that would eliminate that issue, and we'd get Saka, Lacazette, Aubameyang, and Pepe all in the team. And I think it's worth a try, personally.
Definitely.
Maybe try maybe give it a go against Liverpool. Got a bit of lose in that game. We'll go into underdogs, so I might as well try it. Cannot do what he did against them in the league, because otherwise no matter what team he puts out, we'll get turned over again.
I know, and I don't go. I'm not going to start down that road again, because that'll just leave me in a rage.
It's a couple of weeks away anyway.
In a good mood, but no. Well, you know how I feel about that. I got really enraged about that Liverpool game, and my mood really changed from there on in, to be perfectly honest. But I go back to what we said earlier, just to reiterate, I don't think that anything less than third really is a good result for Emery this season at all. I think finishing fourth is one below par. Well, obviously I'm not a golfer, but you know what that means. What the word is in golf for that. Yeah. But I think that's scraping into the fourth position is not good enough for this squad.
Scraping the squad, yeah.
Yeah. I hate to be optimistic as well, but we are on Man City's tail at the minute. And I know no one's looking at it like that, but there is a very good chance we could, I wouldn't say finishing above Man City, but be ahead of them for a little bit.
Well, if Palace turn up tomorrow and take points off them tomorrow, and obviously we then go on to win on Monday, We go above them by 2. We go above them by a point.
Exactly. And
Well,
that'll boost
we should be above them by 2 points because we shouldn't have dropped points against Watford, should we?
No,
I mean, this is the whole problem.
true.
This is the whole reason why we're having this discussion about Emery, because we should have beaten Spurs and we should have beaten Watford, and we should be above them. We should be above them. So we should be 4 points above them. And people have go. Another thing about this Emery situation that everyone is going on about. Well, it's only 8 games into the season. Yeah, exactly. It's only 8 games into the season. However, it's taking exactly the same pattern as last season. We had that great bit of form after the first 2 games last season, and we all know how it ended. And you can see the pattern in the games, because there's no way you should be watching the Bournemouth game after going in at 1-0 half time from behind a sofa, because you can't. You're just worried about what's going to happen. It's like, I mean, look what happened against Watford. It's ridiculous. 2-0 up at half time against the bottom club in the league, and look what happened. So there's no reason for that other than that is poor coaching, because we've got a very good squad. We've got the best squad we've had in a decade. There's no excuses.
What made it that result even worse for Emery, personally for Emery, would be that like 6 days later, they go to the Etihad and get absolutely trounced. Was it 6-7-0? Maybe
8-0.
8-0. Sorry, yeah.
And what that is it's because Watford are so top heavy. Their attack is decent, and then their defense and midfield is just inexistent. Now, I don't see. I see them getting relegated, but if you give Watford a chance, they will take it. They're that type of team. It's the same as Sheffield United that will come up against soon. They're that type of team. Now, if you are a team like Arsenal, you've got to attack teams like that. Now, I'm hoping we attack Sheffield on Monday, or Sheffield United on Monday, because we need to. Otherwise, it's just going to be like Watford all over again, and we're going to give them a chance, and they might get a goal. And then, we're on the back foot, and we've got all these youngsters that will just start panicking. And I'm a little concerned.
I don't think it's these youngsters that will panic. That's the thing. I think it's all the more experienced players. Our youngsters are fearless, and that's why we're playing so well in the cups. And on Thursdays, it's the youngsters are showing the more experienced players the way forward at the moment.
Yeah, that's very true, actually.
The more youngsters we've got on the pitch, I think the better we're doing at the moment. So I've got no issue with that. But it's the constant picking of Socrates and Xhaka, and this is the problem. Anyway. I'm going to stop the negativity for 1 minute, and I'm going to play devil's advocate. And the reason I'm holding off an awful lot, believe it or not, I am, is that I'm really hopeful that it's going to make a massive difference when we've got Tierney and Bellerin on the pitch, hopefully Holding and Lacazette as well. And I still think we're going to have to give it another 5 or 6 games after Bellerin started. Well, Bellerin himself, we're not going to see the best of him until after Christmas, probably sort of February time. But he's still better than anything else we've got as he is right now. So we've still got to give him another 6 games or so to build up a really good relationship with Pepe on the right-hand side, because that is going to be a big, significant uplift for Pepe's game. And I've always said I'm really positive from the summer with the signings that we made. So I'm holding off being really negative until we have had the full defence available to Emery and Lacazette back in the squad. But he's simply got to recognise that the one constant in the team that causes us issues is Granit Xhaka. And I've said 100 times, I've got nothing against him personally or as a player, but he's just not good enough a player for Arsenal. He doesn't offer in anything else than any of the other midfield options we've got. In fact, I'll go as far to say, and this is another odd one that people don't think of, but I actually think that Ceballos is a really good option for the role that Emery's got earmarked for Xhaka. That sounds a bit odd because he's a very creative player and we should have him there. But I actually think he's got an awful lot of the good skills that he offers everything that Xhaka does with his passing and everything, but he offers a lot more than Xhaka does. He actually can run with the ball and progress the ball. And if we had him Guendouzi and Willock, for example, on the pitch. Not got nothing against Torreira either, but him, Guendouzi, and Willock would be my ideal midfield. Actually, I wouldn't say no to Torreira in one of those positions. But they're all interchangeable. But that midfield in itself offers so much energy, a lot of determination and ball winning capabilities as well, and progressive play, linking the midfield and the defence and the attack. I think it just offers everything. And like I said, the one constant in all of our poor performances this season is Granit Xhaka, unfortunately. And the sooner that Emery sees that, he could lose him his job.
Yeah. That's very true. Andrew, what you said about Ceballos playing deeper in that, I'm pretty sure when we played Liverpool, we did play Ceballos on a deeper role. And I think we were playing Willock and Guendouzi as well at some points. And Ceballos didn't seem very comfortable. He
was playing on the left. Yeah, he was playing on the left of the diamond.
Yeah. So I'm not too sure.
It needs to be a double pivot. We can't leave one player on their own. Now, it's going to be better when we've got the two proper fullbacks, because at the moment, we all know the Bible story about when Moses parted the Red Sea. And that's what happens to our midfield at the moment. It allows all the opposition to run straight through the pitch and come right to the edge of our box. Now, hopefully, when we've got Tierney and Bellerin back in the team, then the midfield won't have to do that quite so often, because they've been going left and right naturally to cover the poorer quality fullbacks that we've had on the pitch. We all know what Kolasinac is like defending. So
terrible.
Our midfield pivot has been pulled left and right and opened up massive gaps. And Xhaka is quite often, when he has stayed back, he's all on his own to cover about 40 yard around him. He can't do that. And if we had Ceballos as part of a double pivot, maybe with Guendouzi and then either Willock or Torreira and Guendouzi a bit further forward, then I think that would be an excellent option. I really do. But I think it was it's one of the cup games. It may have been Standard, where I saw for a period of time, it might have been Forest or Standard, I can't remember, but Ceballos was in that area for about a 5 or 10 minute period. And that's when I first started thinking about it. And he was doing a fantastic job there. And it's worth exploring, I think, and to have Willock or Guendouzi the further forward, because of the skill set that they are. We saw what Guendouzi could do when he got the ball, took the ball by the horns and just ran into the box. Yeah. And that's the sort of thing that Willock would do as well, and create havoc and draw players to them and win penalties. Undoubtedly, they'll win penalties. So,
yeah, my favourite game that Ceballos did was the one against Newcastle. He looked absolutely deadly in that game. And it was ever since that game, I think a lot of Arsenal fans decided he is the first team material. You know,
I love the guy. Yeah, I really do. His passion is infectious as well. And similar way to David Luiz is. And you can see what an important cog in the wheel that David Luiz is after the goal he scored against Bournemouth. You could just see all of his teammates and what they thought of him.
Yeah,
he is the
senior.
He is not. Well, he's not the captain in name, but I think he is the captain on the pitch, according to all the rest of the team. Personally,
yeah,
because
he captain pick.
So often you see he's the only one shouting and telling players where to be. He's been let down by his midfield and the players around him so far this season. And hopefully, when we get the full back four in position, we're going to see the best of him. And I think he's good for 6 to 8 goals a season as well, by the way.
Yeah. Could be back. So he's a goal scorer. I've seen his long shots. He is pretty deadly at shooting.
He's certainly an organizer as well. He really is. And people don't agree with me. I probably reckon about 70 or 80% of the keyboard warriors on Twitter hate David Luiz because we did this and you did that. Well, I'm sorry, but you don't turn into a shit player overnight when you've only conceded 3 penalties since 2000 and whatever it was, 2011. You know, he's never played behind such a poor midfield and alongside such poor defence in his entire career. He had a culture shock when he came into our team, and I think he's done really well, to be perfectly honest.
Yes.
Also, with David Luiz, because obviously I was there for his first starting game against Burnley, and most of the home games since. And it's just, he's organising his first game, and you've got like Socrates panicking, and he's turning around, bellowing, "Calm down, we've got this. Calm down, can't do this, do that." He's dictating, as Andrew said. We haven't had that for so long. Because he's given away a couple of penalties, everyone complains about, play for Chelsea. Oh, that's it. No, we've got to complain about him.
What's your guys' view on Papa at the minute? Do you think he's good enough?
I've never liked him. He's another one that's not good enough to play for Arsenal. He has 85 to 90% good games, but every game, bar none, those 10 to 15%, he just does mindless shit, and brain just goes for a curry and chips.
I think I found myself included in the rest of the fan base sort of overhyped him last season because he was pretty much the best of a bad bunch last year. That was available for the whole season. And
it's because he punches the air and clenches his fists. That's people think, oh wow, he's a great player. You actually watch him; he's a shit player.
Since the back end of last season, I think now, the Everton away game onwards, he's been absolutely, to be polite, dire. To be absolutely polite, he's not getting any better. And this is why when people say, "Oh, who do you drop out of Socrates or Papa in terms of bringing holding in?" I'll drop Socrates all day long because Luiz, as we all know, he can ping a ball 40, 50 yards.
Yeah, quality pass.
No question. And also with holding, he likes to play with ball at feet. So you've got a balance of the two of them, and because obviously Luiz can speak English, and he's played in this league for so long, he can sort of help guide holding a bit more easier than what Socrates, who doesn't know this league as well.
Yeah,
the only slight issue, because I would love Holding and Luiz at the back. The only slight issue with it, but I'm sure it's not insurmountable, is the fact that they're both left-sided central defenders. So one of them is good. Well, it's going to be Holding. Let's face it, because Luiz is a senior player, so Holding's going to have to play on the right. But I'm sure he can adapt. And I think Holding very comfortable on the ball, but he is more of an old-fashioned type of defender in lots of ways, where he would stay back and allow Luiz to sort of make his own foray forward. So I think they'll complement each other really well.
See, it's what you said there, Andrew. I'm sure he can adapt, is the words that have been haunting me for the last 15 years at Arsenal. Like,
I know. I bet
players to adapt, and they haven't.
He's young enough though to adapt. He is young enough to adapt, and I think he's shown that in his short spell that he's been with the club so far that he's an intelligent player. I do think he's an intelligent player. I think he's got a lot of the Tony Adams about him. I really do, to be perfectly honest. And he is going to make mistakes. We've just got to, as a fan base, just support our players for God's sake. Allow the youngsters to make the odd mistake, because I don't need to go down that road, but we're just ridiculous at that. And I don't want Mustafi back in the first team at the moment at all. But I've got massive respect for the guy, the way he's come back after all the shit that he was pelted with. Not only him, but his whole entire family, and death threats and all that sort of.
Yeah,
the way he's come back has shown strength. Yeah, I feel really sorry for the guy. I hope he does leave just for his own sake, because he don't deserve that shit.
Yeah.
And yes, we were all angry with him for making it, but that's okay. It was individual mistakes in a poor defence again. Last season we didn't have the squad that we've got now, so it was even worse. So, and yes, he made a lot of mistakes. But the guy don't deserve to have death threats given to his kids and his wife. And
no one deserves that. No one.
And the way he's come back has shown a lot of mental strength for the guy. He hasn't put a foot wrong. That pass he made to Tierney for the goal that we scored, the Martinelli header, absolutely first class, that ball. So just give the guy a bit of credit when he needs it.
Yeah, and he's one of those players, isn't he? It's the fans don't want him. You can't have him. That's kind of.
I don't want him in the team. We've got better options now. I don't want him in the first, but it doesn't mean that you can't say, actually, well done, mate, because you've shown some amazing character to come back from what you have in a short space of time. So fair play to you. And the Pepe bashing already is just getting on my nerves because he's only had 5 starts in the Premier League. Dennis Bergkamp, one of the best players in the world ever, has already said in that interview with Ian Wright, it takes 6 to 7 months. He wasn't talking about Pepe at that point. He just said 6 to 7 months. You've got to allow for a person to come and live in a new country, in a new team, with a new manager, with new teammates, learning new climate, new food, everything. So just give the guy a break and he'll come good. He's got a 5-year contract. Personally, I don't think we'll see the best of him until maybe even next season. But so what? He's here for the long haul. He's not here on loan. You know, he hasn't got to perform immediately, but he's still contributing positively. And in every game he's played so far, you can see that there's a great player there somewhere. So just give the guy a chance and just back him.
Yeah, he's not scoring goals, but he's starting to get the assists going as well. We've got the assist in the last game, the assist to Lacazette's goal in the North London derby, another assist there. So he's still got that. It's just gradual. It's going to take time, as you said. It's like I said at the beginning of the show with Bergkamp. It took him time because he's a new country, even the language. You've got to learn a new language and get on the same wavelength as his new teammates. And everyone's forgetting he didn't get a pre-season with us. He had his international shoot with his country.
Yeah, people overlook that as well, don't they?
A week and a half signed for us, and then next thing you know, people were expecting the world of him.
Right, well, just put yourself right in the. Say, for example, tomorrow, Niall, you got a new job in the south of France. And I don't know what you do for a living, but just bear with me for a second. Say you work in an office and you had to manage people, right? But you got stationed in the south of France and you have to go there tomorrow and start your new job on Monday. Yeah. And then every single week, on the Friday of every single week, because I'm presuming you won't work on the Saturdays, every Friday of every single week between now and May, you've got to do a big presentation to all of the board of directors and online to 2 million people around the world, right? So say you've got to do that without having somewhere to live, without having any friends, without speaking the language, and, you know, all the rest that comes with it. Now, how do you think you'd perform? Well, people have got to realise that these people are human beings. Exactly. That's a precious situation that you would have to do every Friday. But he's got to play in front of 80,000, I'll start again, 60,000 people every week. And then God knows how many on the telly. And he's got to perform.
Price tag, though, isn't it? The price tag on his head. It's like a bounty. It's like a wanted poster. The way people.
That's not his fault, though, is it? And we've got to realise that. And so far, we've only paid 1/5 of that, and we've only got to pay 1/5 every year. So people have got to get it out of their heads with these. As hard as it is, people have got to disregard how much someone has cost because it ain't their fault. It's just the way just stupid things are going. It's all Neymar's initial transfer. It's all down to that, really.
And Pogba as well.
Yeah. So people have got to get that out of their head and just realise that these people are human beings, and it's not easy. And everyone's different. Now, we could have signed another player from France and he could have adapted a lot quicker. But it doesn't mean that that's a bad mark on Pepe because he's an individual. So let's just give him a chance.
Before we wrap up, we're going to do score predictions. What are your score predictions for, obviously, Monday night? First game, we've so far, touch wood, never lost a single game after the international break. I don't know how long. So that's why I've touched wood, so I'm not jinxing it.
I think it's going to be a really tough game. I'm gonna go for the honest opinion. I think Sheffield will score, maybe first, but I don't think we'll win by much. I think it'll be 2-1. I think it'll be a 2-1 win. That's what I think.
Andrew,
1-0.
Oh, bloody hell.
1-0. I don't think we're going to win. I really don't. Monday night up in Sheffield, I just don't think we're going to win. I think they're a better team than people give them credit for. Liverpool only beat them 1-0. they're a really, really well organised team. I don't think I understand a lot of people. That manager they've got is brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and he served his whole career right the way from the conference. He knows how to combat the best of teams, and he's showing it so far this year. They've got a team full of players from that he's brought up with him from League One, and they're still in the team. Well, I just think they're going to do a job on us, and I think we'll be lucky to get out of there with 1-1. And that's being realistic and knowing what the opposition, because it's not because I think we're shit, we're absolutely shit. I think they're a good team, and I think the one saving grace is that we've got Tierney back in the team, and that gives me a bit more confident. And the other good thing is that they've been better away from home than they have at home. So potentially we could get. Potentially, I could go with Niall's score and say 2-1. But in all honesty, I think everyone should realise that getting out of there without being beaten would be fairly good, because they're going to turn over a lot of better teams this year. Honestly, I really do think that. I think they're going to stay up. So I'm going to be confident. I'm going to go for the same as Niall. I'm going to say 2-1 because of Tierney and hopefully Lacazette being back and Bellerin maybe. So yeah, I'm going to. I think the Tierney factor is going to give us a lot of extra to our game. So yeah, I'm going to go for 2-1.
This is definitely one of those years where all the newly promoted sides are really good, and a lot of Prem sides will get relegated. I can't see much of the newly promoted sides not.
I said beginning of the season, my thing to go down was Newcastle. Who was it? Newcastle, Brighton, I think it was Burnley. I think I said. Obviously, Brighton's flighting to be in the bottom half of the table.
Maybe two of them, and Watford, I'd say.
Yeah,
that's what I would say.
I think, as much as I don't like to say it, I really do think that Norwich are going to go down. I love the way they play football, and I really rate their manager as well. Parker, he's a great. He's going to be managing one of the biggest teams. I think he could be a Bayern manager easy one day. One day he will. I do think that Villa are going to struggle as well. I think they're going to have a really good patch, and then I think they're going to go. They'll hit a period when they can't buy a win. They're going to be close. I do think they're going to be close. I do think Brighton's going to be okay. I do rate their manager as well.
I'll tell you what.
I think that Newcastle will go down. I didn't think Watford.
I've been watching Crystal Palace a lot this season. And I've not been paying too much attention to the score lines, but I've been looking at Palace and I've been like, you're getting relegated. And then I looked to the league the other day and they're like top half. They're doing well. I'm like,
yeah, I know.
Palace right now. They're playing terribly, but they're getting the results.
Yeah. Because of the opposition they're playing, that's even worse than they are.
They've just had a really easy.
I genuinely thought they would. Before a ball had been kicked, I would have put Palace down as being relegated. I honestly think they'll be all right now under Roy Hodgson, because they needed to keep hold of Zaha because they couldn't have sold their two best players, Wan-Bissaka and him. There would have been uproar. But I thought when they kept him, that his head was elsewhere, and I thought he was going to have a shocker. And to be fair, he hasn't pulled up trees. He hasn't pulled up trees, but
he's played terribly.
I think just the fact that he's on the pitch gives everyone a lift, though, for that club and the fans.
Well, he did really well for Ivory Coast the other day. He set up Pepe for the goal.
He did, yeah. He looked at it. That was. It was very
nice what Zaha said the other day as well. He was bigging up Pepe, saying how he needs more time to adapt. So it's nice that he's got him.
Well, he doesn't want to burn his bridges. He still wants to join Arsenal, doesn't he? He wants to be on the pitch with him on the left. Yeah. He's no mug.
But Ivory Coast set up here. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? And Drogba running.
Well, do you know what though? Going back to what we said before, I wouldn't want to pay a bucket load of money for Zaha when we've got Martinelli and Saka. I know that's people will say, "Oh yeah, but he's Premier League." Of course, at the moment he's a better player than them, but it would completely put a brick wall in front of their development. And I'm really loath to think that.
Here's a question: if you could strengthen one area of the pitch, where would it be? Like I'm
Defensive
talking
midfield.
first team player. So I'm not talking second backup. I'm talking a player to go directly into the team, push everyone out.
Defensive midfielder.
Yeah, you think that's
Half-
interesting because we have 3 of them.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
definitely
One
want.
of
I
them-
definitely
what-
want a commanding central. You know, we all want a new Vieira, but someone
Yeah.
as close to him as possible, but with more stature than Torreira, to sit in front of the back. Because I think I'm quite happy with the defenders now, which is bizarre.
Really?
But I think we've actually got a lot of decent defenders now, and I'm really excited about Saliba coming in next year.
But I say, got to remember he's coming in as well, haven't we? Sort of remember that.
I'm praying for a Holding and Saliba.
The other things are some good quality backup fullbacks, and but to go straight into the team, definitely a commanding central defensive midfielder.
Yeah, we have so many midfielders, but they're just not good enough. But you can't tell who's good enough. It's a bit blurry in the midfield at the minute, I think.
It's always been the same since Wenger joined the club. We've had some fantastic attacking midfielders. But since Vieira left and Gilberto left, we've never replaced them. And that's an old cliche now, but it's true. It would have been Abu Diaby, but he was so unlucky with injuries. I feel really, really bad for him. I love that guy. I really did. I really rated him.
That was a good 13, 14 years ago now. So you're going to get like 14, 15-year-old kids coming up and going, who the hell's Vieira?
There's no doubt somewhere there is a Vieira replacement, and we've got to find him. So I think Thomas Partey looks a good player. I don't mind him.
Let's go, yeah. Cost us a bit, but it'd be worth it.
Yeah, we need a tall defensive mid. We haven't had one of them. I remember when Yaya was on form in the 13-14 season, everyone was talking about how he would be perfect for Arsenal. So
he would have been, and he was with Arsenal, wasn't he? As we all know. But
we do concede a lot of goals from set pieces and corners, mainly because of the height of our team.
He's still playing Yaya Toure, you know.
Who?
He's looking for a club now.
Really? I didn't know that.
Seriously.
He hasn't retired, no.
Oh, he never gives up, that boy.
No, I don't think. Well, the last time I heard, he was still looking. He wasn't retiring. He was looking for a club. But anyway.
Yeah. No, yeah.
I'm not saying
retired, but yeah.
No, but anyway, I'm gonna have to go. But I do. Yeah, I am. After everything I've said in this episode, I still reiterate. I actually am still very positive about the squad. I'm not positive about the manager though, and I would always support him whilst he's here. But I've got no faith in the guy whatsoever. And I've said that right from the word go. I wasn't happy when he's appointed, and I haven't changed my mind. I've not gone on just what he's been doing with Arsenal. I've been going on his previous job record. I've read up about his previous. Do you know what I always find about players, about managers, about everyone? You read up what the fans say about them, not what the press have been saying about them, but what are the fans of the clubs that they've managed? Just have a read about what they've said about the manager, because that's where you get the real truth. And one of the clubs that he's ever managed, has he been popular with the fans.
Yeah, I did follow PSG a lot when Neymar and that came there, and Emery was obviously the manager there. Emery is brilliant at signing the right players. He's very good at building a squad. He's a cup winner. He's more of a cup manager than a league manager. A bit like the Southgate Deschamps type guy, but as you say, he's just not that good at. Once he's got a team, he's not that good at selecting the team. You know, he's not like Pep, he's not like Klopp, he's not like you saw it with PSG. He was terrible at managing that squad. We've got a squad now. He's showing that he's not that good at.
Same I've
got to admit, it's the first time I'm kind of pushing away from the pro Emery side, but I'm hoping he can bring it back. But we'll have to wait and see, guys.
Yeah. I'm going to wrap this up now, guys. Thanks for coming on, and obviously we'll be back again on Monday for the watch along, and we'll go from there. Hopefully, you can both come back on again soon, sometime.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I was late.
No worries. Where can people find you as well?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter, my name with an underscore at the end, and obviously on YouTube, just Niall Moran.
I never ever thought I'd be on a podcast with one of the One Direction boys, so I'm so happy to have been on here tonight.
I hear that daily. People are like, "Do you hear that a lot?" I'm like, every day. You know. Maybe one day on YouTube I'll have him knocked off the top spot. We'll find out.
Anyway, but you can find me on Twitter at From Dial Square, and if you just search From Dial Square to Where on YouTube, please subscribe. Really want to get the numbers up. We do a really good show every Wednesday. Ryan, you've been on it a few times now, which is, I think it's a really good fun. I think hopefully you'd agree. Niall, I'd love to have you on one day. Maybe if you're free on a Wednesday at 7 o'clock, it'd be great to have you on the show as well one day. I've really enjoyed being with you on this show today. So please subscribe, please hit the notifications button, and please watch on Wednesdays at 7 o'clock.
Awesome. It's
Cool.
been great chatting to you guys.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, and you too. Oh, yeah, as I said, be back on Monday night after watch along for that, and then go from there basically. And until then, enjoy your weekend. Hopefully Tottenham lose against Watford. That'd be brilliant. United could
probably will. Yeah.
Put another positive. United could be a bottom 3 club by the time we kick off on Monday night. If results go the way.
Come on, you Gunners.
Yeah, up the Arsenal boys.
See you later.
See you later.